Okay, you gotta listen. Like, they turn the comments off because this limp-wristed fucking liberal media, dude. Listen to these. Oh, listen to these guys. Trudeau funded. Can you scream?
Losing
Funded by liberals.
Conservative MP, his first. What did we make of his first few days? Andrew, I'm going to start with you.
Well, it was a bit of a mixed bag. I mean,
like, they have conservative criticizers on all the time. How is this journalism? This isn't unbiased. This is completely biased towards liberal. And then you got that wretched French woman. You could just see it in her face. She's just a miserable bag of a fucking woman. And she's always there. Let me tell you what I think there. I think the conservatives are crazy. They're talking about they're disappointed because the government is spending the money wrong. Well, you know what? The government keeps saying they take care of the people. And look, the people are taken care of. Bullshit. Everybody's complaining and everyone's poor. Same liberal fucking rhetoric. Oh, everything's taken care of. Oh, we're putting money into the community. It's fine. Okay, where is the money going? Who's getting the money? Who's putting the money into the community? Who is in charge of the money? Oh, we can't talk about that. It's private contracts. Pierre Poilievre, they say he's attack dogging. He's attack dogging a journalist, his own people. Bro, everybody points out the complete obvious fucking thing. That journalist that grilled fucking Pierre Poilievre, you don't see him grilling Trudeau. That's exactly what Poilievre said. And he's like, oh no, trust me, I've grilled him. No, you haven't. We haven't seen it, and you wouldn't be part of the press anywhere near Trudeau, just like they banned Rebel News because they try to ask the important questions. It's all liberal funded. Now, listen to this fucking guy. Very first thing he says is he starts chirping Poilievre. Attack dog? Yes, that's what we need. We need a fucking attack dog. We need a politician that will point things that are wrong out and do something about it. He has constituents that are pretty much rhinos, okay? The Canadian equivalent of a rhino. They're liberals, they're conservatives in name only. You know what I mean? They're liberals posing as conservatives in the Conservative Party, and that's why, and because he's a WF, the guy that Poilievre's calling out that told her to resign and step down, he's a World Economic Forum fucking stooge. Just like Chrystia Freeland, just like Trudeau, just like fucking Truss, just like all the other fucking WF little Klaus Schwab's little future leadership organization tentacle people. You know what I mean? You remember when you're a kid, all these kids would go off to leadership camp? All right, that's what that was. It was WEF trying to fucking recruit the future dickheads of the world. Anyway, let's go. Let's keep going.
I think everyone thought he gave a very good speech at the convention, or whatever you want to call that where they announced the winner. Clearly had a triumphant day out of that, and well earned. And he certainly got hold of some issues, particularly on affordability, inflation, that are going to give the government fits, and he's a very effective critic on that. But in the meantime, he's also, hadn't been in place for 2 days, and he starts in on the same kind of attack dog strategy, in this case, not directed at the government.
In the meantime? Is that supposed to be a negative thing?
But in one case, at a member of the media, and another case, at a member of his own party.
The member of the media was rudely interrupting him. What kind of journalism? How are you going to do journalism when you're literally screaming at your fucking subject while he's trying? What do you mean? How are you going to report on something when all you can hear is yourself screaming? You know what I mean? What kind of fucking reporter is that? And this guy's going to try to defend him? Like, say that Poilievre's attacked the reporter? No. Poilievre was making a speech, and the reporter kept interrupting him. Any normal reporter, any normal news agency would fire that reporter. Like, report the fucking news. Wait till the guy's done talking and then start chirping. Like, you don't see reporters in the middle of Biden giving a speech fucking screaming at him. Like, same with most politicians. When they're speaking, you let them speak, and then when they're done, you ask your questions. This guy's in the middle of, it's not even like a conference or like somewhere where you would... Poilievre's in the middle of a hallway in Parliament trying to do a fucking speech, and this guy's like, can't keep his mouth shut for 5 minutes. And this guy's trying to demonize Poilievre because he got attacked. Poilievre was the one who was getting attacked. Now he's trying to flip it around. Is it Poilievre is such a kind, and he speaks so elegantly, and he's so kind, and he's so considerate. These quote unquote journalists, these liberal paid fools, are going to make themselves look even more absolutely out of touch, insane, trying to paint Poilievre like Trump, because he's a family man. And he does not make inflammatory statements. He makes very, very, very logical mids statements that you cannot, like, you can't call him out as an extremist. His political strategy, which is genius, and that's how politics should be. It should be neutral, and it should be the interest of the people comes first. I'm telling you right now. I'm calling it right now. I have a very strong feeling they're gonna take out Poilievre, yo. Like, they're gonna assassinate Poilievre. I feel like it's the only option they have is to kill this man, because you will not be able to smear him in any other way or threaten his saying. Like, there's no way that this beautiful human being, Pierre Poilievre, as far as I can tell, I watch CPAC, I watch the politicians in parliament having their conversations and shit. The liberals are absolutely delusional tyrants, and the conservatives are pretty fucking stupid. But the one shining light in all of parliament, on all sides of the party, NDP, PPC, Green Party, Animal Party, of everybody, Poilievre is the only politician addressing what needs to be addressed. Why is the will of the people not being exacted, and where is all the taxpayer money going? Who is printing all the Bank of Canada money? Who is getting these contracts? He's the only politician asking for transparency, asking why the people are not being served, and why our economy is crashing. He's the only one in there asking the proper questions in whole. And then you got these guys.
Reyes, who decided to leave the party because he didn't want to serve under him as leader.
He left the party because Poilievre called him out for being a WEF shill, a World Economic Forum shill, and he is, and that's why he stepped down. Because everyone around him, everybody's getting sick of this fucking cabal, it's one big club and you're not in it bullshit. You serve, as a politician, you represent the people and you serve the will of the people, period. You have no opinion. You weren't selected because okay? You were selected based on the fact that people think that you can handle the responsibility of answering the needs of hundreds of thousands of people. You're not selected because you're special and we need you and you have a unique set of skills. There's someone else that can handle that. There's someone else that can handle hundreds of thousands of people's requests. Probably better even. But then you have these guys coming up like they're God's chosen people. Like, you were there at the time. You were, out of all the candidates, you got chosen and you're dropping the ball. So if you're a legitimate politician or a legitimate exactor of the will of the people, once you stop properly serving the will of the people, you step down and you let someone else do it, because it's very important to have somebody who can handle as many people as possible in that position, right? If you start burning out, if you go, I can't do it, step down, give it to somebody who is going to have that mindset of, even I know I work 8 hours a day, but this is going to be my life now. This job is my life. I don't work 8 hours a day. It's 24/7, because the hundreds of thousands of people that I'm responsible for they don't disappear after my 9 to 5. You know what I mean? It's just the state of politics in Canada right now and the media is disgusting. Let's listen to this.
There's just a certain note of ungraciousness, to say the least, in it, and
ungraciousness, yes. Liberal ungraciousness is not agreeing with liberal view. Oh, they didn't assimilate into our party like the NDP. They didn't prop us up like the NDP. So clearly, he's some type of attack dog. just causing problems. Like, it's just insane. And that's like the World Economic Forum agenda. We have the best interest of the people in mind, and if you oppose our views, or if you have another idea, you're a Nazi and you're trying to destroy the people. Well, here's our idea, and we have a really good grasp on how we're going to progress towards serving the people. What's your oh, we just told you we're taking care of the people. Okay, yeah, but how are you taking care of the people? Show me the numbers, show me the data. Oh, well, we got private corporations and they're going to take care of it, and don't worry about it, and we're not going to go into detail. Like, ugh.
To find enemies under every bed, to turn everybody who criticizes him or disagrees with him or just doesn't jump when he tells them to, turn them into a partisan liberal. And it's...
Jesus, Murphy. Like, the whole liberal part, like, you listen to these... The media and the liberals are all the same. They're all coming together like it's like they're being paid to bash Poilievre. And this, look at her face. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you know, it does make sense that he. It's exactly. You need to come together as a unified party. The liberals are all fucking over the place.
Not the behavior of somebody who's really on top of his game and feeling self-confident as you would think he would be.
What? That's someone who's confident on top of his game is going to be rooting out all the fucking bullshitters. That sounds exactly like someone who's confident on top of their game. What, like, he wants to be confident on top of his game, like Trudeau acting like a fucking goof, fucking putting on a false front of like, we have your best interest in mind. Please don't ask any questions about who's attaining our contracts and who we're paying. Just know that we're taking care of you. Like, that's confidence, and that's somebody who's ahead of their game. That sounds like somebody who doesn't want you to look into what they're doing and who is a little rat thief. That's what that sounds like. That sounds like somebody who's just telling you everything at face value, and then behind the scenes, the fucking horror show. That's what that sounds like. But Poilievre calling people out, telling it like it is, that's unconfident. Like, what kind of double speak bullshit is this? And this fucking journalist, she's the epitome of liberal. Not only is she a journalist, quote unquote journalist, liberal journalist, she's hosting the panels for the political debates for the major politicians. Like, I don't like her. I don't know anybody who likes this. I don't even know where the fuck she came from. But there she is. Here she is. Anyway, let's look. 13 minutes of ranting, and we barely started this video. Okay. Okay, let's do this.
People who really are kind of natural leaders tend to be quite generous to other people, even to their critics, because they don't feel they have to tear them down.
Bullshit. They're kind to their critics? Natural leaders? This guy's mental. A natural leader knows when to bring down the hammer and knows when to let off the gas. All right? Trudeau, and they're transparent to a point. Trudeau is 100% non-transparent, and he's 100% off the gas. He's 100% like, everybody's going to come together and we're going to take care of everyone and everything is gumdrops and rainbows. I'm sorry. We evolved from a gnashing of teeth. We evolved from fight or flight. We evolved from survival of the fittest. There's no, yeah, we're going to take care of everybody. That's not how it works. If the people who say we're going to take care of everybody end up disappointing everybody or letting everyone down. It's like communism. Oh, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to buy anything or have anything. You just don't worry about it. Also, you may spend the rest of your life in a gulag and you might go to jail for saying someone's pronouns wrong, but at least you'll get your bread every morning at the bread line. Like, what? Like, ugh.
Whereas this kind of ankle-biting style is more... It just seems smaller. It makes him look smaller, and I don't think he seems to realize that.
It doesn't make him look small at all. It looks like he's fucking David and Goliath. He looks like he's fucking revving up his bola, his sling with his rock in it, getting ready to take down the giants, yo. And this guy's trying to This guy's trying to play him down like he's a puppy, like he's a Shih Tzu, ankle biter. And listen to how they're talking too, ankle biter. That they don't go into any of his policies, any of his politics. Yeah, he addressed a lot of. They swept everything important that he was talking about under the rug, and now they're just bashing him in 5 seconds, in 2 minutes, technically less than 2 minutes, right? He addressed a lot of issues with economics and stuff. He put a lot of pressure on the liberals, but yeah, him also doing that makes him look weak and small. What?
Doesn't care.
Althea?
I just don't think he's trying to win everybody. I was struck by the response.
You can't win everybody. That's the point. You don't win everybody. You can never win everybody. That's being realistic. Acting like these guys are insane. What world do they live in?
Alain Reyes is leaving as well. I mean, this is a man who served under one of his very good friends.
Also, how is this journalism? Very good, served under one of his very good friends. Oh no, he gets along with the people that he works with. Oh no, it's nepotism. Oh, they're not related. Oh, they just really get along. He just gets along with people that he's not related to. Oh no, why would we want a prime minister that gets along with people? Let's get a prime minister like Justin Trudeau, whose best friend in college is a pedophile. Yeah, no, that sounds way better.
It's Andrew Scheer as Quebec lieutenant who helped the party expand its base in Quebec, or at least that was the effort in 2019 was quite impressive in terms of the candidates that Mr. Reyes recruited, to basically not even thank him at all for his work, to only say that the reason he's leaving is because he doesn't want to fight Justin Trudeau on inflation, and then for the party to have the gall to send text messages to all the conservative all the conservative members in Mr. Reyes's riding, urging them to call his constituency office and tell them that he must resign, is just so out of the norm that I'm thankful that the conservative.
Why does he have to resign? Address the issue. You're just saying, oh, he did a really good job by getting him Quebec voters. Why? But why is he asking him to resign? Because he's a World Economic Forum shill. You have a literal Bond villain, like political psychopath, Klaus Schwab, going around saying that he has agents and people that he's trained planted all over international government and all bodies of government all over the world. No, and the one person calling these dudes out is, you see the correlation here? The system's already corrupt, and they're just trying to weed out the people that are going to give them a hard time. You know what I mean? The WF, most of the World Economic Forum members, if you look up who's in parliament in the majority of countries, your majority of your politicians, a large group of them, most of the ones that are in power right now in your country, have ties to the World Economic Forum. They're already enacting their plan. All right, it's getting to the point where if you don't address it, it's just gonna happen, and that's what their plan is that they're gonna make it happen. But as long as people like Poilievre and people, I feel like the majority of people have their head on their shoulders, so they're not gonna let this go down. But
the party actually recognized that and issued a tweet apologizing for that behavior. But to Andrew's point, the doxing that might happen to Mr. Poilievre's critics is quite concerning, and it really goes to
the doc, dude. The liberals point out everybody who chirps them and dox it, and they send out they place criminal charges on people that criticize the liberals. Look at all the court hearings for the truckers and stuff. Look at that big debacle. And then you're trying to tell me that you're worried about Poilievre's critics getting doxed? Good, they should be. They should be. When somebody's like, hey, stop asking questions and stop exacting the will of the people and stop trying to make the government transparent so that people know what's going on and where their money's going. Stop doing that. Like, you're going to trust that guy? We're supposed to trust that guy? Like, what?
Everything that Mr. Reyes said when he decided to leave about the Trump-style divisive politics that Mr. Poilievre was leading.
Trump-style? Oh, my God, man.
That's why he was leaving. I mean, Mr. Poilievre just confirmed all of that.
Also, you know why the comments are off, right? The comments are off because everybody's chirping this false, biased journalism.
So I don't think it was a very good first few days.
Yeah, Mr. Reyes, just to remind people, did support Jean Charest. He was a pretty important part of that campaign.
Right. All the more reason to get him away for Poilievre, to get him out of his party if he. And did you see the votes for Jean Charest? Jean Charest came out of nowhere, and then he had 16% of the votes. I saw him speak once, and it was trash, and everybody knew he was a flip-flop fucking, like, liberal libcon, like.
And then felt that he had to leave when Pierre Poilievre was elected. I mean, those are a couple instances of sort of a confrontation or conflict, but
confrontation or like cabinet shuffling happens. You shuffle people out. There's a new guy that came into power who knows what he's doing. He's shoring up his house. What is the why do you have to demonize that? Like he's like what?
I mean, that's not all that happened this week, and he did give a good delivery to caucus, and when you talk to people who were at the caucus meeting, they were delighted to have been at that meeting. So Chantal, what did you make of Poilievre's foray into things?
Yeah, a lot of them were delighted until they discovered what was going to happen over the next 2 days. This was the wrong week to test whether scorched earth politics that gets you the leader.
Scorched earth? If you pay any attention to Poilievre, there's literally nothing about this man that says scorched earth. It says anything. It says like he's got a disappointed parent, like a disappointed teacher, disappointed parent feel. You know what I mean? Like somebody who really cares about you and is really concerned about what you're worried about, but is also disappointed because you're doing absolutely nothing to pull yourself out of your situation. The same thing with Pierre. Pierre's talking to all the politicians. He's like, listen, it's very simple. The way that we solve the economic issues and the issues of the people is very simple. We listen to the people and then we address their issues. And these guys are like, I think that Monsieur Poilievre with his scorched earth politics of unifying the people and answering questions. What? Listen to these guys what kind of journalism is this? So far, 3 of the panelists bash Poilievre. Hopefully this guy is going to support him. Otherwise, it's literally the definition of biased. The complete opposite of what journalism is supposed to be, which is unbiased reporting of events.
Is something you need to bring in to do well. In this province, every Quebec MP has been hurt by what has happened to Alain Reyes. This was the week when people tuned in. And what they saw wasn't the speech at the convention or the speech to caucus, which plays in the middle of the day and that most of us watch, but most other people don't.
What is this lady saying? What most of us saw wasn't the speech that most of us saw, that everybody saw. What is this false narrative? Oh my God.
Face of the Conservative Party in Quebec over the past few elections has been the Quebec lieutenant. That Quebec lieutenant happens to be a happy political warrior who is called Alain Reyes. And then suddenly you've got
a happy political warrior. He sounds like a World Economic Forum shill, like Chrystia Freeland, who absolutely ruined our economy and isn't helping the Indigenous people at all. And neither is Patty Hadju.
People saying we're swamped with calls from people. And if you're going to make this a fight between you and Alain Reyes in Quebec, you will lose. And this week,
highly doubt. I know a lot of beaucoup de monde en Québec sont fatigués en esti du gouvernement qui est là à ce moment. Bullshit, madame. Bullshit, lady.
He lost big time. In the same way that if you're going to make it a fight against David Aiken in the press gallery, someone who used to work for Sun TV, not a very liberal place, you will lose. So,
Sun TV, what are you talking about?
Me, I think their instincts got in the way of their best week for Canadians to have the first look at the new Conservative leader.
Elamine?
I just don't think they've planned this far yet, right? Like I don't.
Right off the bat, no, not one of these people has an unbiased view. I don't. Nope. Conservative bad. We're not going to elaborate on anything that he's talking about. We're just going to point out that he bad. He's coming in really aggressive, and it's not good. He needs to pat the butts of all the people that are undermining him and keep them close to him, because look how well the Liberal government's going.
They planned much further than the launching speech at the convention event, which was a very good speech. We all talked about how effective it was, how he sort of drew a different image than we've been used to from Pierre-Paul.
What was he talking about in his speech? The same thing he's been talking about for the last 10 years. Serve the people. Where is the money coming from? How do we fix the economy? Like, they won't address the fact that he wants to make air travel more convenient again. Like, they just bash the shit out of him.
Yeah. The problem is you got to go back to work on Monday, and going back to work on Monday means sort of returning to the thing that made you famous. And so we kind of return to the pugnacious style sort of politics that we've seen from him all along. It sort of gives a split screen
Pugnacious
idea of what Pierre Poilievre is trying to do. Of, okay, is he trying to change the channel of how people view him, which is what we saw at that convention event.
Change the channel of how people view him. No, everybody views him the same as they've always viewed him. The literal one politician asking the right questions in Parliament. That's it. There's no other way to view him.
Or is he trying to be the thing that made him, a household name, at least among conservatives, which is exactly the performance that he had this week. And it feels like they've not made up their minds just yet, but also it's been 6 days, so maybe it can take some time.
Yeah, Chantal wants to, and then I'll go to Chantal and Andrew. Yep.
Just to mention, if they did eventually apologize in a very weird way, as in the machine made us do it, about the Alain Reyes text.
There is no machine made us do it, dude. He's a World Economic Forum shill. Everybody on the Liberal Party, the majority of them are World Economic representatives. So why would he want people who are in cahoots with his opposition in his party? And Quebec's fucked anyway, so trust me, I'm from Montreal. My family's from Montreal. I'm French enough.
Sorry that your computers are writing for you to specific people.
And she's just making up scenarios. If they say sorry there and they say it's because the computer is writing to people.
But the only reason they had to do that is because they would have had a hard time holding caucus together. A lot of the MPs who are not with them have their hands on the door handle. And yesterday was a really bad day, enough of a bad day that people who never apologize about anything and never back off had to do that.
Andrew?
Every political victory carries the seeds of potential defeat, which is to say you win because you have a tight-knit group of advisors who make big bets, and you carry it off. And the danger is that you come to believe that you can't do any wrong, you can't make any mistakes. Yeah. And so you start losing touch with.
He literally just came into power like 5 days ago. What are they talking about? And he isn't going to lose power because he has stuck to the same guns for literally the last 5-10 years of where is the money coming from? Who is getting the money, and why can't we know? And these fuckers are all shaking in their boots because they're the ones getting all the fucking money right now. Okay? If Pierre Poilievre gets into power, which he never will, the only reason I'm saying this is because it would be too good to be true. All right? The only other thing that could mess that up is if he's just as corrupt as Trudeau and these guys, and just as biased. I really don't think so, though, from everything I've seen of him over the last 5-10 years. He's not gonna turncoat. He's not gonna get into power and then flip his script. For 5 years has been saying we're gonna make everything transparent and tell you exactly who's getting the money and where the money's coming from. He's not gonna flip that, and that's why these guys are terrified, and that's why they're demonizing him. Because he's going to expose all of these crooked. These people won't exist on TV anymore. These are the same people that have been on TV since before the pandemic. So think about it. Think about that. bias.
how other people are seeing you outside of the particular group of your admirers. He's had 6 months where he's been talking to groups of people who just love everything he says.
Yep.
Now he's in a very different world, and you got to adjust and be able to see how other.
He's not in a different world. He's in the same world that he's always been in. Liberals, psychotic liberals with like no point, going, you being aggressive. Yeah, all your policies seem to be for the will of the people and for transparency, but you're saying it you sound mean when you're saying it. Yeah, I get that you're getting rid of all the people that aren't agreeing with you and that won't help you support you in your cause to help the people and make government spending transparent and make the economy better, but you're saying it in a really aggressive tone. So I think I'm going to stick with the Trudeau Liberals, and hopefully we don't get another lockdown.
People are seeing.
Except, as you say, Althea, maybe he doesn't care if other people are seeing him in a different way. Maybe that's okay for him.
Well, I think he cares.
What different way? What is he doing different? He hasn't done anything different. It's the same fucking guy. He's with the same policies and politics. What are they talking about?
About caucus. Like, I think part of the
This is the definition of gaslighting and bias.
response to Alain Reyes is a warning shot across the bow to all the other MPs. This is what will happen if you leave.
No. It's not a warning shot across the bow of all the other MPs, and this is what'll happen if you leave. It's a warning shot. It is a warning shot across, and it's not a warning shot to tell you this is what's going to happen if you leave. It's a warning shot to tell you that if you're canoodling with the enemy, you have no fucking part in my party. That's it, period. He is intelligent. That's a genius big brain move. That's the exact move that I would want my leader to do. Hey, we have people in our writing that are questionable and that are maybe reporting and maybe working against us, maybe reporting to the enemy and working against us. We can't have him in our party. But now they're acting like they're acting like Reyes left on his own accord, and then Poilievre was like, oh, yeah, see this piece of shit. He didn't. Poilievre said, we ousted him out of our party because he's a World Economic Forum shill, and he doesn't hold the same values and interests as us. He holds the same values and interests as Trudeau's World Economic stacked government, which makes sense.
And it kind of harkens back to days under some parts of the Stephen Harper rule. But I think in terms of the general population...
Stephen Harper, why are they talking about conservatives like the rule of Stephen Harper, like they're evil tyrant dictators, the rule of justice?
No, they don't think this has legs. This is not to whom this is directed. They have a very tailored message to young people on housing, for example, that seems to be resonating. They are trying to embrace
as opposed to liberal fucking views on housing, which is, oh, everybody gets everything for free. Don't worry, we're taking care of you. How? Who gets the money? Where's the money coming from? Oh, don't worry about it. We're taking care of all the immigrants first, and all the migrants first, and all the poor people, and all the single mothers will be taken care of. And you 9-to-5ers, the guys that hold up the backbone of the nation, the guys that pay for us to give all these people that don't contribute to taxes free money, we'll get to you eventually. Whereas Poilievre says, hey, backbone of the country, we're going to reinforce you. We're going to put metal plates. The people that work 9 to 5 that hold the economy up and hold society up, we're going to take care of you first. Then, once the economy stabilizes, because the people that are holding everything up have money and can relax for 5 seconds. Now, he's not even trying to get to make life easy for the middle class, or you know what I mean? He's not trying to shit on the downtrodden. He's trying to keep the infrastructure running. Whereas the liberals the budget will balance itself. If we just print off more money and sink it into poor people, they'll eventually be productive members of society. No, that's why they're poor people. If they were productive members of society, they wouldn't be poor. They wouldn't be in the situation they're in. If they could figure it out, they can't. So they need people like us, the middle class, that can support themselves and that can contribute to to society and that can do volunteer. They need us to exist so that we can spread out the load. But under the liberal government, under these fucking communist bullshit politics, where they got to lower the middle class so that they can raise the lower class, so that everybody can be lower middle class. How does that help anyone? You don't give the resources to the already established middle class, so they start burning out and become lower class because they can't afford to keep going. Like, in what world does that work? Whereas with the Conservatives, at least, they prioritize the economy and those that are the backbone of the country. It has nothing to do with who's poor and who's rich. And okay, it just so happens that the people who are super poor and have no money tend to sit around and do nothing. And, they do drugs and they do, you know what I mean? And you can say it's a vicious cycle and it's because they never got a shot, but come on.
An electoral strategy that is completely different than Erin O'Toole's strategy in 2021 in the sense.
What strategy? Erin O'Toole had no strategy. He sat there with his magazine in his hand and went, meh, I'm a robot. Like pretty much Harper style.
They want to bring those PPCers into the Conservative fold and they want to depress Liberal votes. And if they make the political climate so toxic that lots of voters decide that they want to stay home because it's not worth engaging, then they will have won.
Oh my God. It's not because they make it, look at Trudeau's face. The Conservatives don't make everything, they're saying if the Conservative wants to make everything so toxic that people don't want to participate in politics, that's not it. The Liberal government and the way that everything's going right now is so corrupt and sad that people don't want to vote because it's not interesting. It doesn't make sense. It feels like our vote is pointless and useless because that's what it feels like, especially with the NDP locking the Trudeau in until 2025. What the hell is that? And Trudeau calling snap elections to keep himself in Parliament. It's literally disgusting and just egregious. That's going to cause people to not participate in voting. If anything, that causes toxicity in the system. Not Poilievre calling out people that need to be called out. Like, this is so biased and disgusting.
Politicians face a very simple choice. Do you allay those fears and empower people and show them how we're going to build a better future? Or do you amplify those fears for short-term political...
Do you allay the fears? He just admitted, I'm allaying people's fears. But are you... So you're telling people that they're going to be okay, but are you actually doing anything to help them? Oh yeah, we're doing it. Okay, in detail. This is where the Liberals fall apart. Oh, okay. Oh, you don't want to scare anyone and you don't want to cause panic? That's great. That sounds really nice. That sounds really great. Oh, you're going to solve everyone's problems? Oh, wow. That sounds really good. All right. Now, how are you going to do that? Oh, that's where the Liberals break down. Oh, well, we got programs and we're going to give money we're going to give free daycare and we're going to give free housing to everybody. And the housing prices we're eventually going to address the housing prices, but everyone's going to get everything for free. Oh, cool. Okay, so how are you going to do that? Where's the money coming from? Well, we got private contracts. We can't go into detail about it. Well, why not? It's the people's money, isn't it? Who's printing the money? Where's the money going? How are you going to do this? Oh, well, don't worry about it. You're going to get taken care of. That's the Liberal bullshit that you keep hearing. That's why the Liberals, for the majority of people, mob mentality. Think about it. Mob mentality. The majority of people are stupid. The majority of people stick in a big mob. And who are the dumb mobs going to be more attracted to? The guy saying, hey, we got a long, hard road ahead of us. Things are fucked up right now, and I'm going to fix them, but things are really bad right now, and we really got to address everything, and this is bad times. Or is the dumb mob going to listen to the guy who goes, hey, everybody, how's it going? We're going to give you free everything. Everybody gets free everything. We're going to have your kids taken care of. We're going to give you free houses, and everything's going to be great. And don't worry about how we're going to do it. It's going to get done. Yeah, let's go with that guy instead of the other guy who's saying, shit's scary right now, shit's gonna go down, we need to come together and, fix the economy and fix the system.
Game.
Prime Minister, they're reacting to Pierre Poilievre's win as Conservative leader, responding back to criticism.
Fear-mongering, making him look like some type of scary dictator, but he's not. He's like literally the nicest family man ever.
from Poilievre, of course, that his government's handling of the inflation crisis. How will the dynamic play out between the two of them in the coming days? At Issue is back. Chantal, Elamine, Andrew, and Althea. Elamine, I said you'd start us off. What did you make of both the Prime Minister's speech to caucus? He was out in New Brunswick, and then those sort of questions that he took the following day, in terms of sort of broadly painting politicians who create fear as a way to motivate people.
I mean, this is a prime minister who, for the last couple of elections, has been a little bit comfortable with, very carefully orchestrating some divisions, right? He's sort of wielded the wedge.
Listen how they speak. He's very careful about orchestrating. Oh my God. And now they just start fluffing Trudeau. Here we go.
Issue weapon very carefully, and I think he's done that in the last two elections. At least part of his campaign has been about making the Conservatives
the last two elections, he hasn't got anything done.
A little bit more scary, and at least they're trying to tell voters that the Conservative Party is a scary party. So now for him to say that politicians ought to be careful about doing that, or that Canadians should be careful with politicians who are trying to do that, struck me as a little bit rich, but also at the same time it makes a lot of sense, because that is the kind of narrative that we've seen coming from Pierre.
Wow. He almost sounded unbiased, and then he went right into bias. Oh my God. Trudeau calling Conservatives evil and saying we should fear them is a little bit rich, but he's right. What?
Poilievre. Of course, the Liberals would want to remind people as much as possible that Poilievre was very comfortable with the Freedom Convoy from earlier this year, without necessarily saying those words at the same time. So,
what arguments are you fucking making, dude? We got to remind people that he was really comfortable with the truckers, even though he didn't say it, even though he denied it. But what are you fucking saying, dude? What kind of journalism is this? What am I listening to? How is this my fucking country?
It was sort of trying to do a lot of things all at once, but they just have to be careful with how they handle it.
Chantal?
It's early days, and I think the Liberals are still watching, and...
It's not early days. Poilievre's been in fucking Parliament grilling the fucking Liberals on their bullshit budget for literally 10 years. You look up Pierre Poilievre grilling Liberals over their budget and their finances for the last 5 years. I'll make a compilation soon. It's literally 5 years of Poilievre going, where's the money coming from? Who's getting the money? Who's printing off the money? Why is the Bank of Canada printing off all this money? Where is it going? And the Liberals going, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's contracts. It's all private contracts. We can't discuss it. It's private contracts. Don't worry. We're going to take care of the people, but we can't tell you anything because it's private contracts. You know how private contracts work. You know how the government works, right? They say what they say goes. So you can strong arm people. You can strong arm corporations in with the law and Freedom of Information Act to tell you what the fuck is going on, but you won't because they're your lobbyists and they're literally paying you to sit around and pretend to exact the will of the people. That's what's happening.
Figuring out how to get under the skin of Pierre Poilievre, and I don't think that the Prime Minister had a lot of impact this week.
You'll never get under the skin of Pierre Poilievre. He is a man of the people, for the people, by the people. The only way you'll get under his skin is by attacking his family or physically attacking him. It's the only way you're going to get under this man's skin. The guy's fucking ironclad. He's bulletproof.
Right of Liberal circles, because all eyes were on Pierre Poilievre, but what they did learn this week that is very useful is how thin a skin he and his team have. And I think not just the Liberals, also the Bloc Québécois thought they had a good week watching.
Andrew?
Just to amplify Elamine's point, every election since I've been a voter, basically the Liberal tactic has been to raise fears about the Conservatives on whether it's on guns or abortion or Medicare. It is part of their playbook. It is, in many cases, their only play. It's not just designed, of course, to depress Conservative vote. It's to scare NDP voters into the Liberal corral. So they're past masters of that. The difference here, you could say, is that the irrationality of the fears that Poilievre has been playing to, in particular during this campaign, things like the World Economic Forum or calling vaccine mandates vaccine vendettas and that sort of thing, because that plays to not a particularly rational.
So you're saying the World Economic Forum that was announced by Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum leaders that are pretty much usurping the individual international systems that we have is a good thing? Right.
Voter. And, things like the world to scare NDP voters into the liberal corral. So they're past masters of that. The difference here, you could say, is that the irrationality of the fears that Poilievre's been playing to in particular during this campaign, things like the World Economic Forum or calling vaccine mandates vaccine vendetta.
Oh, yeah, the vaccine. Yeah, because they are vaccine vendetta. And they refuse to deny that them requiring vaccination for medical officials like nurses and doctors didn't affect anything. Like, I know my family doctor stepped down from the practice. I know multiple doctors that stepped down from medicine because of how fucked up the system was the last two years. And they're going to tell you that maybe nobody was fired, but you know why? Because they were told to step down if they didn't want to get vaccinated. They were told that they're going to kill people and put people's lives in danger, and they don't know the science. And now everybody's backtracking on everything. But the liberals will never admit that right now the hospital situation, the medical situation in Canada right now is absolutely insane and backed up in bedlam because of the mandates, the mandates that were put in by the government. They are vendettas. They targeted the people, and they targeted the worst people that, like, it was the worst targeting of people that I've ever seen ever in recent years. Like, this is hearkening back to like World War I, World War II style, like borderline totalitarianism bullshit.
And that sort of thing, because that plays to not a particularly rational voter. And
once again, mob mentality. Okay, I have them in my family too. Like, they don't like Poilievre. Why don't you like Poilievre? You don't like that he's asking the government why they're spending the money and why they won't explain where the money's coming from and who's getting the money. He's too aggressive. He's not. He doesn't play by the rules. Blah, 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 blah. Like, it was my grandpa, by the way. I love my grandpa, but he's a Knight of Columbus. Like, if you're one of the people in the clubs, I mean, obviously you're going to be like, oh, he doesn't play nice. He doesn't play by the rules. No, he doesn't, because he's not part of a fucking club. The club he's part of is everybody in the world. He's part of the Fix the Planet Club, which is very difficult because everybody in that club gets told by everybody else that they're crazy and that it's never going to happen. And the same thing with these people that are like, he's very aggressive and I don't like that. I like the guy who says that, hey, everybody, let's get along and let's take care of everything and everything is going to be fine. That sounds normal. Does it sound normal? Let's see. Let's look back at the last couple 100,000 years of evolution. No, that doesn't sound normal at all. It sounds really psychotic and pipe dreamy.
And, the concern is that you're normalizing the abnormal. You are making things which were previously viewed as fringe concerns seem somehow.
But they're not fringe concerns. It's a legitimate concern. There are World Economic Forum representatives in all bodies. Klaus Schwab keeps boasting about it. Like, there's an agenda, and it's clearly a bad agenda because nothing is getting better right now, and more of these people are popping up. So it's an issue that needs to be addressed. The vaccine mandates, they dropped all the mandates and the laws, and something was wrong in the last 2 years, but yet they're going to tell you, oh, well, if we didn't do that, it would have been way worse. Right. And we're also not going to address the depression and suicide that the lockdowns caused.
Legitimate. And that does things to our politics that aren't particularly pleasant.
Althea, last word to you.
What does it do to the politics? Elaborate. What does it do? Tell us. What does it do to call out to call out agents that are infiltrating governments. What does it do to call that out? What does it do to say, you know what, maybe what harm does it cause to say maybe the vaccine mandates and the masks and all that weren't the best idea? What chaos is that going to cause? Please elaborate. You're not going to because you can't.
The Liberals Andrew's right that the Liberals have been using that playbook, but some of those fears are legitimate fears. I mean, there's, I think, a difference to be made between criticism that you levy against a political party that are based on legit fears, whether that's abortion or climate action, versus taking an issue and politicizing it like they did with mandatory vaccination and like purposefully picking an issue to drive wedges. And I think what we're seeing in Justin Trudeau and the Liberals this week is that they're kind of trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. I do think that they recognize that some of the comments that they made in the last election were unhelpful, that some of the comments that he made during the Freedom Convoy were not helpful, and that if they are going to draw comparison and contrast between Pierre Poilievre, then they do need to go back to that language that worked so well for them in 2015, the positive, inclusive, hope, and hard work. Like, these are, I mean, he could have been talking about himself in the clip that you played. And so it is interesting to see how they are going to try to fix their error, if you wish, because I think that's what we're trying to see, what we're starting to see.
Okay, everyone, I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad that we're back. Good to see you all, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.
Ew, I'm not glad.